What's going on, guys? The Comics Kid 2099 here to talk to you about a movie called Wishmaster. This is the two-pack. It's the first two Wishmaster movies. I'm just talking about the first Wishmaster movie right now. This is directed by Robert Kurtzman, who is the son of Roberto Orci and Alex Kurtzman. This is a story about that one guy from Lost who has the powers of that one guy from Wonder Woman 1984. He is a djinn from like 1,000 years ago. He gets trapped in a gemstone, and then he is accidentally released in the present day, and he causes a whole bunch of havoc with his wish powers. Anyone who asks for something from him, it backfires in some way on them, very similar to Wonder Woman 1984. And I enjoyed this movie well enough, but I'm not sure if it has a whole lot of rewatch value for me. If you're really into the creative kills and the really violent gore in horror movies, there are two scenes in this movie that you are absolutely going to love. The very first scene in the movie is set in somewhere in the Middle East. It was around the year 1000. I don't remember where it was, but you've got the djinn. He is in the good graces of the king of this land, or the person in charge, and then there are all these people dying very horrible, gruesome deaths, and it is an absolute delight to watch. If you enjoy, like in slasher movies, whenever the slasher isn't just, here's a knife and then I slit your throat, and that's pretty tame, but they do something really interesting and creative when they kill someone. If you're into that, there are a whole lot of like, ooh, that looks really gross, and I love it. There's a whole lot of that in the first scene, and then towards the very end of the movie, there is a similar scene like that. And then everything in the middle is okay. We see a whole lot of the djinn meet someone and needs something from them, so he tricks them into getting a wish, and then it backfires on them, and quite often the effect is fairly mundane compared to what you see at the beginning and at the end. There is one point where somebody turns into, I guess, glass, and then the djinn like walks through them and then they shatter. And this came out in 96 or 97, so the CGI, not great. So a lot of the middle portion doesn't look nearly as good as the beginning and end scenes that are full of really interesting, gruesome stuff. But overall, I would say the story is pretty simple. I was a little confused at some of the basics. So this evil djinn is trapped in a gemstone, and then it gets stolen so it was on a statue, and then the statue falls at this dock, and then this guy working at the dock, he steals the gem. He sells it to a pawn shop guy. The pawn shop guy sells it to some corporation, and then the guy in charge of the corporation, he gives it to one of his employees, and then she gives it to a friend of hers, and then the friend is looking at it through an electron microscope, and somehow the djinn is able to escape. And then from that point forward, the woman who gave it to her friend, who is looking at it through the electron microscope, she has some kind of telepathic bond with the djinn, and she's able to see what he's doing wherever she's at. And my understanding is that she released the djinn, and so the djinn needs to give her 3 wishes so that then he can open the portal to his universe and then bring more djinn into this world. The problem is she didn't really release the djinn. I'm a little confused why the movie thinks that she is the one who released the djinn, because she's not the one who picked it up at the docks, and then there's like 3 other people who handled it before it got to her, and then she's just like looking at it at one point, and then some like weird evil clouds show up in the gem, and then she gives it to her friend, and then the gem explodes then, and then the creature comes out, and then it kills her friend and has a more human-ish form. And so I'm a little confused why she is the main character. Why did the djinn bond with her? What did she do? As near as I can tell, she didn't do anything that any of these other people who were holding it didn't do as well. But other than that, if you're willing to kind of just turn your brain off for a little bit and just enjoy some pretty cheesy, goofy horror, this is a delightful movie. It's got a whole lot of people in it that you probably will will recognize. Kane Hodder is in one scene. Tony Todd is in one scene. Robert Englund is in a couple of scenes. The main character, I was distracted the whole time. I thought she looked a whole lot like Eva Green. If you put a blonde wig on Eva Green, you've got this main character. Her name is Tammy Lauren. I have never seen her in anything before. And whenever I looked her up, I didn't recognize a whole lot of stuff that she had been in. But this movie, I believe Wes Craven actually produced it. So that explains Robert Englund being in it. I believe Ted Raimi is in one scene. Joe Pilato. There's a whole lot of, hey, it's that guy who is in just one really quick scene. Buck, is it Flower or Fowler? The homeless guy from Back to the Future. He plays a homeless guy here. So there's a whole lot of like, hey, I recognize that actor or actress, but they're not like the main character in the movie. It was probably my favorite part was seeing that guy from Lost. I really like that guy. I think he has a good presence. I've just never seen him in anything huge except for Lost. So it was kind of cool getting to see him here. I'm glad we got to see him look like his real human self and not be buried in makeup. The makeup looks okay. It looks like a demon from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but seeing him in his actual, what he looks like in real life, that was pretty cool because we got to see him kind of emote a little bit with his actual human face, and that was where I took a moment to be like, it's that guy. I was like Leonardo DiCaprio. But anyway, this movie is entertaining. I am a little curious. There are 3 sequels, one of which I have right here. I am curious how they're going to do the sequels, because I don't really see how you can take this premise and do more with it without just repeating the same story. So you will find out what I think of Wishmaster 2 very soon, but in the meantime, that's about all that I have to say about Wishmaster. This movie is fine. It's perfectly enjoyable, a good way to kill an afternoon, but not my favorite horror movie that I've ever seen. So that's about all that I have to say about Wishmaster. I hope you guys like this video, and I will see you guys in the future with more videos. In the meantime, have a great rest of your day. Catch you later.